Hi, welcome back to CBSE Board Economics. I'm Saddam Hussain here. We're carrying on with the budget chapter. We have seen there are two parts of a budget, revenue budget and capital budget. And we have also seen revenue receipts and capital receipts, revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. And we have seen that revenue receipts are divided into two parts: tax revenue receipts and non-tax revenue receipts. And further we learned tax revenue receipts are divided into two parts. One is the direct taxes, one is indirect taxes. Today in this short video, we will be differentiating, we will be seeing the differences between direct and indirect taxes. That's very important from the board examination point of view. What are the difference between direct and indirect taxes? We don't know the intricacies of it. Everyone pays some direct taxes, some indirect taxes. But let's see what is the difference between a direct tax and an indirect tax. Now let's see here, you can see it on the board, direct taxes and indirect taxes. What exactly is direct taxes? We'll see some of the examples of direct taxes which we pay day-to-day life. Which are the direct taxes you have? You can see here, one is income tax, is a direct tax. Property tax is a direct tax. The big firms pay corporation tax, that's also a kind of direct tax. Wealth is a direct tax. Interest payment is a direct tax. I repeat, income tax, property tax, wealth tax, corporation tax, interest payments. Which are the indirect taxes you have? Now we just have all the indirect taxes which were lots of them earlier have been clubbed together into one now, that we call it as GST. Then it's on the same person. What it means, if you are earning hell of a lot, so you have to pay income tax. The tax liability is on you, and the burden of paying the tax, that we call in economics as incidence of the tax, is on you. So the tax liability and burden is on the same person. In case of indirect taxes, the tax liability and the burden, or we call in economics as incidence, is on different people. What it means, if you buy a car or purchase a car, GST is imposed on that car dealer. But the dealer, of course, it is his liability to pay the tax, but he will pass it on to you. So indirectly you are paying to the government. So in case of indirect taxes, the tax liability and burden is on different people. And the third point, direct taxes cannot be escaped. How can you escape a direct tax? When you own a property, you have to pay property tax. When you own wealth, you have to pay wealth tax. And if you put a lot of money in the bank, interest you are getting it, so you have to pay interest tax. And if you are earning hell of a lot, you have to pay income tax. So you just cannot escape it. Legally, we are talking about. In case of indirect taxes, this can be escaped. How do you escape indirect taxes legally? Not purchasing it, not spending money in the market. So you can escape indirect taxes. And these are imposed on income and wealth. Of course, income tax, wealth tax, these are imposed on the same income when you spend it. That is, these are imposed on expenditure, indirect taxes. And the last point we have, these are progressive in nature. What exactly is progressive in nature? As income increases, the tax liability also increases. It keeps on going up. As your income is going up, the tax liability will also go up. If your income is coming down, the tax liability will also come. That's called progressive taxation. In India we have. And these are not progressive. What it means, not progressive means even a poor man has to pay the same tax and the rich man has to pay the same tax. So these are not progressive. That's why sometimes we call it as regressive nature. Regressive means the poor people are punished. That means, for example, if you are buying a toothpaste, there is an 18% tax on it. So whether you are very rich or whether poor, you have to pay the same tax. Or even if you are buying anything, right, right from toothpaste to toothbrush, there is a tax on it. So both revenue receipts in the revenue budget, we have two kinds of revenue receipts. One is the tax revenue receipts, the other one is non-tax revenue receipts. This we have already seen. Tax revenue receipts are again divided into two. One is the direct tax, one is indirect tax. So differentiate between direct and indirect taxes. The first point is direct taxes are property tax, income tax, wealth tax, interest tax, corporation tax. Indirect taxes are just GST, goods and services tax. The second point, direct taxes, the tax liability and burden is on the same person. In case of indirect taxes, the tax liability and burden is on different people. Third point, in case of direct taxes, they cannot be escaped. You have to pay income tax, property tax every year, wealth tax you have to pay, interest tax you have to pay, corporation tax you have to pay. You cannot escape it. Indirect taxes can be escaped by not consuming the commodities. These are imposed, direct taxes and income and wealth of people, these are imposed on the same income when you spend it. That's on the expenditure. If you don't spend your money income, you don't have to pay a single penny. Indirect taxes, legally you can escape. And these are progressive nature. It means as your income increases, your tax liability also increases. These are not progressive in nature. Everyone has to pay the same tax. These are not progressive, but they are regressive in nature. We repeat once again, direct and indirect taxes. Direct taxes are property tax, income tax, wealth tax, corporation tax, interest tax. Indirect taxes are just one, GST, goods and services tax. The second point is direct taxes are imposed on income and wealth of the people. Indirect taxes are imposed on the same income when you spend it. That's only on the expenditure. In case of direct taxes, the tax liability and the burden is on the same person. In case of indirect taxes, the tax liability and burden is on different people. And the next point, these are progressive nature, direct taxes. As income increases, the tax rate increases. These are regressive nature. Everyone has to pay the same tax. They are not in progressive nature. What did you forget? These are the 5 points you have. That's all we have time for today. Direct and indirect taxes. Till we meet in the next video. It's goodbye from Saddam said. Work hard for your board exams. So if you find this video interesting, like and share. Bye-bye.